I just received a huge enclosure for my bearded dragon. It's even bigger than the one I got for my green basilisk. It's 2 meters long, 90 centimeters high, 60 centimeters deep. This enclosure comes from a Swedish company based in Stockholm called TerrarieByggarna, which translates to terrarium builders. They offer a standard selection of enclosures in various sizes, in black or white. But they can also custom make terrariums specifically for you and your needs. In my case, I had them install a hole up top with a net for the heat light to rest on, rather than having it inside. I also requested an extra window on the side to enhance the overall appearance of the terrarium. And finally, I asked for shorter front panels. This all comes with an extra cost, but I think it's worth it. Right, Kiwi? Inside the enclosure, down to the left, we have 2 holes for ventilation. One in the top right corner, and in the middle we have a hole for cables. And finally, the terrarium comes with 2 sliding glass doors. So if you're in Europe, you can use my code TerrAquaman to get a 10% discount. Let's get started on the background. For the background, I have selected XPS foam. And for the ventilation, I've already pre-drilled some holes. I'm using aquarium-safe silicone to attach it to the back. Now the next day, and the silicone has had time to cure. What I want to do now is to add some sort of shelves. To create these shelves, I'll be using some scrap pieces of foam and attaching them to the background with some wooden skewers. This all looks a bit weird now, but soon I'm going to carve the background using some steel brushes. The basking spot's gonna be right here. I don't know if these shelves make sense. I have no idea what I'm doing, to be honest. Now it's time to bring this background to life. Inspired by the Australian outback, my goal is to mimic its rocky texture. To achieve this look, I'll be using a variety of steel brushes. It's gonna be easier said than done. When you do stupid shit like this, make sure nobody is home and make sure your cat is locked outside. If my cat was here, he'd probably jump in here and he'd look like this. And that's not good. Alright, so we're done detailing with the background. Over here we're gonna have a big log or a cork bark, so I'm not gonna put any shelves here. On this side, I kind of want to have some shelves so that Kiwi could sit and enjoy up here or something. After playing around with the scrap pieces, here's what I finally came up with. The skewers aren't enough to keep the pieces in place, so I used some expanding foam to really secure it to the background. While I waited for it to cure, I used a heat gun to harden the XPS foam. If you feel it like this, feel that it's very hard. This is rock solid now. Well, not rock solid, but it's going to be. A few hours later, I could remove the excess foam. Now we are ready to bring some color to this background. The first layer, I'll be using some wood glue and acrylic paint. I'm also gonna mix in some sand just for texture, you know. Finally, a splash of water. This makes it go rock solid. I covered the background with a thick layer of the mixture. A few days later, I mixed the same ingredients, but this time with burnt sienna. After applying the second layer, I left it to dry completely. Now it's time for the details. I mixed wood glue with just a dab of burnt sienna and applied a thin layer. What do you think? You like it? Okay, sorry. I left the background to dry for a couple of weeks. So with the background fully cured, I can now add in the substrate and the decor. I recently went to a shop to acquire this gigantic cork bark that I want to incorporate here somehow. And then I have another piece that I could just, have to play around with this a bit. It needs to come up higher here so Kiwi can bask. That's not stable. But I have another piece that I can go and get. You can just go and grab that. Something like that. Yeah, it's like it's made to be there. All right, so I've played around a bit with the layout, and in the left corner we have this log that I just think it's made to be here. She could enter it from here and then go all the way inside there and hide. She also has the opportunity to have a sort of a cave system here. I'm gonna put deep substrate in there so she could dig it out and, you know, burrow or like hide out. And I decided to go with a medium log and sort of prop it up with a piece of the big log. And this will be the basking area. You see the basking lights over there. So I have to secure this to the background with some silicone or something so it doesn't fall. Sometimes when you set up an aquarium, you put the soil directly where you want the plants, and then you cover that with the decorative sand. That's kind of my thought process here. But to this mix, we're gonna add some of the clay. This is where Kiwi is gonna burrow, and allegedly if you add the clay, the burrow stays intact. So these are two types of grass that I've decided to use for Kiwi. Carefully not to damage the roots. So that's one. And just like that, we brought it to life. I stole some of the grass from that side and I'm gonna plant it here. I think it looks nice. Just a little bit of greenery there, and then we have this huge bush area right there. And to cap off the soil, I'm just gonna take some of this light sand. And as for the decorative part, I've chosen this red desert terrarium substrate. As I was laying on the couch, I noticed that this corner was very empty. It needed some plants. With all the plants in place, the terrarium is now finished, and we can now add the star of the show, Kiwi. I want to give a huge thanks to TerrarieByggarna for sending me this beautiful enclosure. Let me remind you that if you're in Europe and you're interested in getting one of these for yourself, you can use my code TerrariEByggarna to get a 10% discount. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Peace.